a special Father's Day edition right on. You all know DR.V, the man or one of the men, gender neutral, please understand, men or women, well known in the addiction world. Man's just smart. He's just everything. He's just a great guy. He's my buddy for so long, 53 years, been dragging me along. Used to drag me to Italian class. What was it, 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning,
Oh
like
yeah, it
three
was 8 in the
semesters in
morning.
a row.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was a tough one.
I don't. I don't know how we did it. You're smart. I just kind of made it. It was fun though. Either way.
That was my hardest class. Terrible.
Oh man, it was tough. But what a great professor. And it was a
We had
lot
a
of
great
fun. That's where I got to know you, you bum. Okay, either way, this is the man. You know how I feel about it. Just an American citizen. We love this country. We're here to talk about Father's Day a little bit. Then we're going to go right about two fathers in the Supreme Court. But we're going to DR.V is going to be talking here a little bit about Father's Day, talking about how it's kind of changed a little bit and how it seems to, it kind of goes back and forth. And we're not going to compare Mother's Day and Father's Day, but Mother's Day seems to be a bit more venerated. It always was, I think, when we grew up. What do you think, DR.V? It's because the mothers were at home most of the time, and Mother's Day was. Am I correct? Mother's Day was more venerated. Father's Day kind of got pushed down. Seems to be getting pushed down a little bit more, but I don't know. I'm happy. I'm putting up with it. My kids and grandkids haven't thrown me out yet, but I'm going to turn this part over to the doctor to see what he has to say. Who happens to have a great family, and his kids love him. You don't love that face. Look at that face. Okay.
Oh,
Tell us
Bart,
about
thank
it.
you.
Go for it.
First off, happy Father's Day to you and to all the other fathers out there. And it's good that we have a day to celebrate fathers, I think, because sometimes in the culture, the idea of a father has been downplayed. If you look at the media, the father's usually the doofus, the person who doesn't know best anymore. Mother knows best these days. And you and I know when we grew up as fathers who knew best. But it's important to have a father figure in your life, somebody that you can look up to, somebody that you know is there for you when your car's not working. You can call, come over, help fix it, or at least tell you where to go to get it fixed. And I think it's important to remember the role of fathers in our lives. So
Well, you
it's
think
good that we
fathers,
have a day to celebrate.
but you don't think fathers matter anymore?
I'll tell you, the way the culture's been going, it feels like the fathers are irrelevant. You know, they come in, they're useful for impregnating somebody, then that's it. Then they're gone. And it's really important for young men to have role models to look up for and look up to, and for women to have fathers in their lives that appreciates them and helps protect them. And we need to do that. We need to remind ourselves of that.
Well, how can I ask the most important question about Father's Day? What
Sure.
about grandfathers? Where do grandfathers? Now we're
There
talking.
you go.
Now we're talking because you know what I learned. The kids love the grandfathers because we hardly ever say no, and you're
Yeah.
always looking forward to seeing them because they ain't going to give you too much trouble, and they think you're smart. They'll get older, they'll realize, Papa put up with them. I'll get a lunch. I'll get this. I'll get that. Right. But otherwise, we'll sit back. We'll go, hey, oh, mega drafty. What are we doing? Right now, we're talking about the Father's Day and how it seems to be kind of pushed down in the background, but how important it is and how much we love it. And we love our fathers and we love our grandchildren. We're talking about how great it is being grandfathers, huh?
Oh,
Come
being a
on, baby.
grandfather, that's the best job in life. That's the reward for having kids, is having grandkids. I know
That's you got to
my
hook.
my
Go ahead.
grandsons, it's so much fun. When we see them, they say they run around their grandmother to get to me, to give me the hug.
Oh,
I love
man.
it so much. It's great. It's great. The
Eric, wake
grandkids are the
up, Eric.
best.
You're crazy, Eric. You don't know what you're talking about, but we'll let it stay up there anyhow. I don't care. Okay, Dr. V. Let's start getting now down to what we were going to just take it to our transition where we were going to
Yes.
go, which is two fathers on the Supreme Court. Okay. And my problem and how we all talk and where we go. But let's understand one thing. Fathers are great, moms are great, families are great, kids are great. We just love it here in America. Really, left wing or right wing, we're there. Okay. Now, Let's go on to the Supreme Court. This is my problem, and we're going to go. I love the Supreme Court. I grew up loving it. I worship the Supreme Court. I believe they were where it was at. The smart people who were above it didn't let the politics get involved and just kind of did what they did. Now, look, there are times Supreme Court came out with absolutely horrendous decisions, of course, but generally, I grew up during civil rights and all that, and saw all this go on. Maybe they pulled it a bit, but they cared about the country. What do we have right now? Let's look at one of them, Justice Thomas. It appears that he's gotten over $4 million in benefits from these guys. Now, I'm going to separate him from those people, but let me just ask you something. If you went in front of a judge or a justice who got $4 million in benefits from somebody who may be opposing you or may have a different way of looking at things than you do, remembering you're at the Supreme Court, okay? Would you feel you're getting a fair shot? I wonder. And let me ask you this. Aren't they just like the gods of America? Because they don't have to answer to anybody. So he could take his $4 million and say, look, the judicial conference said it was okay. Do you know what the judicial conference is? Do you know what the judicial?
Now,
Does
what's a judicial?
anybody know what the
No.
judicial conference
Who
is?
holds them accountable?
Right, the judicial conference, they say. Well, the judicial conference is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and other judges in the federal courts. They're going to control the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is that's why they're called the Supreme Court. And they don't answer to anybody except that they do not. Good to see you, Mega. It probably give us some likes. Give us a like. I'm shameless, aren't I, Dr. V? So,
Gotta promote it.
either way, it's just they don't answer to anybody. Except the whole idea was they thank you very much. Except I love it, baby. Thank you, Mega. So, but they don't answer to anybody. The whole idea was they didn't have an army. I think that's what Jackson said. What army is going to back them up? I don't have to listen to him. Essentially, I think President Johnson said that. But it's Andrew Jackson. I'm sorry. So you have that going on, but except for that, but now they come in and you got a guy has trouble saying it. I mean, think about it. The guy he's getting the money from buys Hitler paraphernalia. He's got the Hitler teacup. He's got Hitler statues. He's got Stalin statues. He's got all this stuff going on. And okay, right on. And the Wall Street Journal goes, well, we know what Justice Thomas would say anyhow. He doesn't need to have to be paid off. Well, let me ask you something. You don't think it helps? I'm not saying it's a payoff. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying something doesn't seem right when a justice of the U.S. Supreme Court gets 4 million beanos of benefits, trips, everything. What do you think?
Yeah, in the medical field, we used to have drug reps come around and offer us free stuff. And the reason they did it is because it influenced doctors' decisions about what medicines to prescribe. And so they put a big damper on that because they knew the influence it had. And now there's sunshine laws or whatever, where everything is public, that you can see what donations or handouts or whatever people are getting. And we don't have that kind of accountability in the Supreme Court. And I think that's part of why confidence in that institution has gone down. And has there ever been a time when confidence in the Supreme Court has been at a lower level? It's
I don't
terrible.
think so.
It, when you lose confidence in institutions, we talked about this last time, that's when the idea of some sort of cult figure becomes more popular. You're still looking for something in your life that you have confidence in, and we're losing confidence in the traditional institutions that we used to trust.
We really have. Thanks for that second like. And let me tell you, but think of the amount of money we're talking about. It's just really craziness. Okay. And I don't understand that. Let's go to Justice Alito, the other father. I'm not saying they're not good fathers. I'm sure they are. We're not saying that. How about Alito having the flag flown upside down at his house? Now, we're talking the American flag. This is a justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. He blamed his wife. Okay. And they got his wife on tape saying, it was me. But let me ask you something, Dr. V. If you walk past the house of a Supreme Court justice and you saw the flag flying like that, would you say, oh, that must be the Supreme Court justice's wife flying the flag? That must be who it is. No, you would say that's the Supreme Court justice's house. You would assume it's the Supreme Court justice flying the flag. And
Sure.
why couldn't he have pulled it down? You want somebody who's at least going to act like he's not biased when he's on the court. I'm sorry, when he's listening. But when you put up that flag, which was used at the insurrection, it's not just a distress flag. It is what it is, okay? And then you let the world see it and blame your wife when you're doing it and letting it happen. You got to do. But once again, when you're godlike and you don't answer to anybody, ooh, it doesn't matter. Remember when President Obama was there at the State of the Union and said something about the opinion, and Alito went like this or something, gave
Right.
that look. I mean, talk about a politician. And so we got all these politicians. You're right. How can you trust them anymore? How can you trust these people? How can you trust that you're going to go in and get a fair deal when you listen to them? Tell me. Tell me.
I mean, if you can't respect the flag, how can you respect the institutions? I mean, that's by creating an appearance that you're not being fair, reduces respect in that whole institution, and that's a terrible thing. And again, the Supreme Court is at the lowest level of confidence, and it's behaviors like that that causes us to lose faith that our justice system is fair. And Mark, if we lose confidence in our justice system, what do we have in this country? It's the fundamental backbone of what makes this country great. It's a
Listen to the
free,
doctor talking about the judicial system. Go
you
for it,
know,
doctor.
you need to have a good health system and a good judicial system for the health of the country. And both of these institutions are being compromised to some extent. So we can't let politics influence medicine. And we need to have our judicial system, again, not being influenced by politics. That messes everything up. That messes up our confidence in these important institutions.
Well, I agree, but let's keep this in mind also. You can't, it's hard to get politics out of judicial because politicians appoint and put judges in their jobs. It's so there's always going to be, it's hard to separate. It's a little different than medicine where they can allege that science isn't true all they want. It's which we know is okay. I'm with you on that. The problem we've got here is that people have to look beyond this and look at how it's working and saying we got juries that worked in New York and in Delaware. We got people, 12 Americans on each jury who sat there and made a decision and looked at the evidence because it does work. And we have to start believing in ourselves. See you, Bega. We got to start believing in ourselves and we have to start taking it forward and quit banging down on each other and understanding where we are. I've just had it, but I'm bummed. I'm not giving up. And this is the other thing. If you watch Fox, the emotion that blows out of there, I can't turn Fox off. It's like, woo, Laura Ingraham, woo. I've never seen anything like it. All these guys, Jesse, woo. You're sitting there. It's like, woo. You remember that old picture with the speaker? Somebody's listening to some rock and the hair's flying back in front of the speaker. I think we had that picture. I think I have it on the wall somewhere. Well, that's what it's like at Fox. I can't turn it off. It's like, woo. But then you watch MSNBC, and it's like all this intellectual. And yeah, it makes sense. I'm with them. But people go, yeah, okay, right on. I'll see you later. Fox, they get them worked up. But boom, boom, boom. They just lay the BS on them like there's no tomorrow. It's like I was listening to Byron Daniel. He went, oh, yeah. Everett Dirksen was big time, basically, he was saying, in the civil rights era. No, Everett Dirksen wasn't. Everett Dirksen had curly hair, and he was a good guy, Republican. It was LBJ. And, of
Mhm.
course, the assassination of JFK. But let's do this. I don't want to take too much more of your time here. We're gonna put up on my post a different date for next week because we can't do it Friday because I'm going online. But the Dr. V, what do you have to say here? Give me something. Tell me what you think. Where should we go that's upbeat that we should run with? You are the addiction specialist. You are the guy, the psychiatrist. Where should we go upbeat? This is a Father's Day. End this on an upbeat note for us.
There you go. I want people to enjoy this day. Fathers, non-fathers, if you have a father, enjoy this day. It's beautiful here. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Let's have some fun. Make sure you reach out to your dad if your dad's not around. Say a little prayer for him, but let's enjoy this day together.
Right on. I love Dr. V. Let me tell you, that's why I got to bring him on. We're going to be doing more. We're probably going to have another special this week. We're going to move Friday. We'll let you know then. Thank you all for watching. It's been great. Happy Father's Day. We love you. We'll talk. Eat big. We'll talk with you later. See you, Dr. V.
And that's the way it is.
And that, I always forget. And that's the way it is.
Period.
Period. And I can't use my right hand. I have to use my left hand to get off of this thing. And I then end the stream. Good